This video, with the lights on, so I hope the glare is not too much, please let me know if it is. This video is meant to explain question forms and to get to letter D inversion, which we did not get to in class. Let's go through some samples. By the way, there's going to be a part 2 of this video because there's another part 2 inversion that's even more complicated. Part 1. Est-ce que tu vas à la plage? Here's a basic question posed with est-ce que. In our question, we've got est-ce que, then we've got our subject tu, and our verb va. This is lovely. In order to make it an informal question, we simply take out the est que and put a little uptone at the end. Tu vas à la plage. My apologies if this marker is too light for you to see on the video. It kind of is what it is. But in any case, you see how it's just tu vas à la plage? Practically the same thing as est-ce que, you just drop the est que and put a tone at the end. Now when we invert a question, we actually invert the subject and the verb. The verb is going to go before the subject. How does this work out? It has to be hyphenated. So instead of est-ce que tu vas à la plage, we're going to take out the est que and put the va in front of the tu. Va, tu, à la plage. In black, this is the inverted form of the question. You see that it is simpler in some ways grammatically. You have fewer words, vas-tu à la plage? Simplement. And it's clear that it's a question because the verb is before the subject. Whereas here, tu vas à la plage could be tu vas à la plage, statement, or tu vas à la plage, question. Let's continue on with this. Où est-ce que tu vas? In the familiar form, we have the subject tu, the verb va, and then we have the où. Tu vas où? You see why this is familiar. It's very easy. In the inverted form, we actually start with où, and then we switch the verb and the subject. Où vas-tu? You can see why this one is conversational. Tu vas où? This one is a little bit more formal and seen more in writing. People do sometimes invert their questions in speech, but it's much more a written form. The next one, avec qui est-ce que tu vas à la plage? We have here our subject tu, our verb va, we have our question avec qui, and we've got est-ce que. In the familiar form, tu vas à la plage avec qui? Here we have our subject, our verb, and our question is at the end. In inverted form, we're going to put our question word at the beginning again. Avec qui? And then we're going to invert subject and verb. Vas-tu à la plage? Next example, I'm going to go through these, write them down, think about them. If you have questions, follow up with a question by email or by comment. Next one, qui est-ce que tu vas à la plage? Who do you see at the beach? Familiar, tu vois, our subject, qui à la plage? But in our inverted form, we keep the question word at the beginning. Qui vois-tu à la plage? Now notice that in both cases, the est que has disappeared. Qu'est-ce que tu fais à la plage? What do you do at the beach? Tu fais. Now here we have the question word que. When we're using the informal form, que changes to quoi. Tu fais quoi à la plage? In our inverted form, we keep the que, but we drop the est que. Que fait tu à la plage? Now to finish out this video, there's one expression that I wanted to give you guys in the inverted form because the verb changes a little bit for this form. Est-ce que je peux aller à la plage? Can I go to the beach? Here we're asking the je form, and that's what changes the verb. In the informal form, we would simply say, je peux aller à la plage. We just take out the est que. That's the informal speech, je peux aller à la plage. Our uptone at the end asks the question. When we invert, we do the following. We take out the est que, we put the peu in front, but we change it to this form of the verb pouvoir. Puis. Puis-je aller à la plage? Now, inversion is extremely rare with je. We don't usually ask about ourselves, except in this case, may I? Puis-je? When you use puis-je, it's extremely formal. So I want you to understand that part of inversion using je. Normally, we don't ask questions about ourselves. Normally, we don't invert with je. Here, if you want to be super formal and polite, puis-je. Merci.